We're in here. We're doing it. There's people looking at us. My hair is, ooh, you were saying about your hair earlier. I'm looking
Oh,
at
yeah.
mine now like, who is this person?
I know. I always get my hair cut like after the party. The party was yesterday. I get my hair cut next Friday.
Like, hi everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday to you. My hair and myself and Veronica are joining you this Sunday afternoon, Sunday morning. For those of you who are not on the East Coast, welcome. Thank you for joining us. We are just going to have a little moment of mindfulness. I'm very mindful about how it's very obvious I slept hard last night because my hair is like
Looking fabulous. Authentically you.
Yeah, oh, that's why I said annoying earlier. We'll give it just a few minutes to get more people in. For those of you who have already noted in the chat, we're going to be doing a guided mindfulness exercise later today. Later today's and later during the stream, obviously. And so Veronica has a little bit of homework for you in order to do this. Veronica, tell everybody about the homework assignment.
Well, it's a way to get us connected. So with mindfulness, we're just being present in the moment. And so the jar of mindfulness is that you're going to add your energy into this mindfulness jar that we're creating together right now by adding one positive word that starts with your first name. And let me tell you how this came about for me. In my ministerial training, Dr. Lloyd Barrett, he's from Jamaica. When he met you, he would greet you and he goes, and he'd get your name and he'd go, Veronica, vivacious and vitality. I went, I love that. So feel your energy into the word that you're choosing and add it to the chat so you're part of this whole mindfulness experience.
I was not allowed to put the one that I wanted, but that's
positive.
wasn't positive, so I flunked the homework assignment immediately. So don't be like me. It has to be positive, and it has to start with your first name.
we got to get into our heart, and then we train our brain. So that's the practice.
So we will get into that, but just make sure. Johnny, I was like, your name doesn't start with a J, it's T. Oh no, your real name, Johnny. your real name is not Tara's apprentice.
You're funny.
Yep, that's just how
Johnny can have two. He can do T and A now too, all right?
I am so not that bright this morning. So guys, I'm going to introduce my amazing guest, and actually I'm just going to say her name and then I'm going to let her introduce herself because I feel like I'm better of a hype man. So like, I'll know when you're not giving yourself enough. I'm like, stop, go back. Remember that time you wrestled that grizzly bear? Like, I'm good at that. So Veronica Valles, amazing. I've known Veronica several years now through our mutual friend, teacher, coach, spiritual mother from another teacher, Jody Roberts. Veronica, introduce yourself to everybody. Tell us who you are, what you do, how we can find you on the social webs.
Find me on the social web. Well, so I am Veronica Valles, and thank you, Adrienne. I just love, and I love watching you, but I just love your presence and your energy. So I am, in this lifetime, I experienced life as a spiritual teacher and coach. I'm an ordained minister for Centers for Spiritual Living. So we're New Thought. Positive, practical spirituality, spiritual principles and tools. We teach you how to understand a universal principle and how to use them to create the life that you want. And so I created a focus ministry though. So I'm an ordained minister. I'm a spiritual teacher, artist. I write photography, but I teach secular mindfulness to children. And I'm all about bringing the power of positivity into the world. And then also understanding, how we navigate our human experience with practical tools. So with mindfulness, it's all science-based. What I bring to kids is, you can go to mindfulschools.org, but that I show up in the world in service to the greater good and, being present to my humanity, those moments and just loving myself up through the difficult times and using my tools though to create the life I truly want. So I've seen the power of transformation by doing the work. So, but I would say my greatest accomplishment is being most favored aunt to my 7 nieces and nephews. So that I will say.
How did you, and you kind of went into it, but go into a little deeper, especially like most people just hear mindfulness. You're specifically secular mindfulness. How did you find that path? How did it find you? And dig a little bit deeper about the difference between what people think is mindfulness versus what you do with secular mindfulness.
Yeah. Well, the path was like I found the path. It came to me through a long-term illness. So I just was turning 30. I was working in the film industry in Los Angeles. I had the dream of being an Academy Award director, and I got severely, and I'm not exaggerating when I say deathly ill with chronic fatigue immune dysfunction syndrome. I'm going to show you how mindfulness found me. This isn't the original book. I wish I kept my original book. But John Kabat-Zinn's, hang on.
Right in front of your face.
Full Catastrophe Living, 634 pages. All right, this big book I found. I went to the Bodhi Tree bookstore because I was deathly ill. I had a list of symptoms a mile long. They couldn't diagnose me. You know, back then chronic fatigue was very it was a rare and new and emerging disease. And so anyhow, I was sick my entire 30s. But when I found that book, and I'd shifted from my upbringing, because I consider myself a metaphysical and mystical mutt. So I grew up Catholic, and I loved the mystical side of that. And then I practiced Buddhism. And then I found Full Catastrophe Living, and what Kabat-Zinn did through his Buddhist training, he stripped anything of Buddhism, but just brought it to the basic tools and techniques, that being aware in the present moment to what you're feeling, the power of understanding your emotions, and then the power of choice of like right action for your body, your mind, and your heart is the path of healing. So that was my introduction to mindfulness. And then fast forward, I find Centers for Spiritual Living Dallas. I get trained in all these peace modalities, and just these are tools for the present moment to let me be my best, even when I'm having difficult times. So mindfulness simply is being present in the moment. I'm just paying attention. So if you look around your room, even though you're paying attention to Adrienne and I, but if you just take a look around your room and try to spot 3 things that are red. So I've got I got a painting here with red. I've got John Batista in the back, and then I've got a red here in my handle. So the minute I start focusing my attention in the moment, I start noticing things not only from my senses, the sensory awareness, but then I begin to pay attention to my feelings and my thoughts. Whereas meditation, so mindfulness is paying attention, what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, but also all that's happening with the senses and sensations focused. Meditation is a deeper practice. It's an intentional sit for 20 minutes or more, where you're focused on your breath and your body and your awareness and your attention. But there's a difference between the focused sitting with the meditation practice, meeting the cushion, as opposed to I'm just paying attention. I'm noticing the 2 eagles that have arrived in Dallas, or I'm seeing the homeless woman that I want to go actually have a conversation, see how I can support her, or I'm being present to grief that's lingering right here in my heart. And it really is just meeting. So mindfulness is meeting the moment. Mm-hmm. Meditation, for me, is going deeper in my body, my mind, my heart, my soul. That's how I define it.
And you're telling us what it is. Tell us what mindfulness is not. So you said it's not meditation, but what are some other things?
It's a practice. So let's say, I'm noticing that I'm feeling stressed. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a mindful moment. Where am I feeling it in my body? I'm paying attention. So what it's not this, you'll see a lot of it has the effects of decreasing stress, increasing resilience. It has all these side effects, but it's simply being present. Mm-hmm. That's all that it is. You'll see it used though in marketing. It's like the new thing in business. And what happens even in schools, it's social emotional learning, and it becomes a thing, a curriculum where it literally is just being present. It's that simple. I am noticing that, the sun is out today. I'm noticing that Adrienne has these beautiful plants and these Tibetan bowls in the video. I'm noticing the noise of the cars going by. It's like you're just paying attention. Yeah. It's that simple. And people try to make it complicated. And there's all these, there's thousands of ways you can be mindful. But for me, it's like I'm present to my breath. I'm present to my body. I'm noticing thoughts. I'm also cultivating the positive. So I'm training my mind, which I naturally am as a photographer, to beauty. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes we get lost in the thoughts and the rumination and the stories, and we create these Academy Award performances, and we forget that little hummingbird that just came by was a miracle itself. And I didn't stop to look because I'm stuck in here.
Do you feel this night for mindful?
Wait a minute, say that again because it came in muffled.
Do you feel that as a society, we're moving closer to people being more mindful, or are we pushing away and people are more distracted?
Yeah, that's a great question because there is a lot of distractions. Think about there's the positive tools of technology, the way that, look, we're connecting online. I can take my phone and literally it's my little computer when I'm at work and I can check on my parents or check my emails. And so it's where you're seeing both. And it's really a matter of choice. If you're around little kids, which is why I love children, they're fully in the present moment. They're the ones that notice the butterflies that are like going by, or the voice of the girl next door at my parents' house, like bubbles. And so I feel like as a society, we get so distracted with things that, we want to become or things that we need to do, or the world is telling us this is what we need to be. And yet we're missing the whole point of being just present. So it's both. And it's moment to moment, like I'll catch myself, I'm not perfect. Mindfulness is not about being perfect. It's about being present. But if I'm noticing I'm having some really snarky comments coming up, I'll take a step back and be like, what is that? Mm-hmm. What do I really need? Yeah. What am I really feeling and what do I really need? And what you're seeing is that people aren't doing that, which is why you see a lot of, I hate to say this, the chaos in social media. People taking their unhealed stuff and working it out in public,
Ask, what do you think is contributing to that philosophy, that thought that you have that a lot of people are not being mindful? What are some of the contributing factors you think?
Well, people are unhappy. So what are the two things people are afraid of? Mm-hmm. They're afraid of dying. They're afraid of suffering. Mm-hmm. All right. And we are in a society where there's a lot of challenges just in being human. Mm-hmm. Every generation could say that. We just happen to have a rapid sense of technological growth. And there's all this expansion in ways that people put stress upon themselves. And the whole thing is the minute, almost dying at 30 brings me to the awareness of what is really important in this moment. Mm-hmm. What is really of value? And then getting trained in new thought, understanding my choices, my beliefs, my habits. It's like, am I living in the moment for my highest good? Or am I living in the projections of my parents? Or society says you need to be this and do this. And you have to ask yourself, am I authentically living in this moment? So a lot of it is we've abdicated our own sovereignty to what society says we should and shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's like, is this in alignment with my soul's purpose? Mm-hmm. Is this worth my time and energy? Now, if I commit to something, how can I be present with that commitment with my heart? Mm-hmm. Because we'll talk in another segment about the 4 kingdoms of consciousness, but we have to move from life as being like a victim consciousness to life as being expressed in, through, and as me. So with mindfulness, what feeling am I having this moment? Nonviolent communication. What am I feeling? What need is not being met? Well, let's say you are overwhelmed and you're frustrated and you're annoyed. Well, what is that? Maybe you need rest. Maybe you need connection. Maybe you just need some space. And until we can name it, we can't tame it. So there's so much that's happening, but I'm inviting people not to wait for something catastrophic to bring you fully into the moment. Yeah. Like life is a gift in this moment. Yeah. And to find ways that you can use your practice, whatever it is, mm-hmm. to bring you present, so that when you're meeting real challenges in the world or very difficult people, how I can stay grounded and yet not interact in the drama and the chaos, because pain body meets pain body. With mindfulness, I'm present to what I'm feeling, what I need, and then I'm connecting with you in empathy. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's always easy, but it is possible.
It's possible. Give us some tips, some tools, some recommendations for people who want to either dig in more, we can start at the basic level, people who are like, oh, I thought mindfulness was more of the meditation. It really is. I realized that it really is just being more present. What are some tips for the novice? People who are already doing a pretty decent job of being mindful and want to take it to another level. And then do a quick intro of the 4 kingdoms, so people who are already there and have mastered can start to learn more.
All right, so let's go very simply. from just the human perspective, all right? We're not doing spiritual today, but the two things that are always present, my body is present. So we always connect in our heart and our hands, like my left heart on my left hand on my heart, my right hand on my belly. So when I anchor in the moment, my body's present, my breath is present. So what I teach people is how to anchor in the moment with their body and their breath. So that deep, and let's just do it together. Wherever you're sitting, just put your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your belly. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Our eyes take in 80% of information. And you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth like a big circle. And in that inhalation and exhalation, I'll guide you in just a second, you're already signaling to your nervous system that it's time to calm down. Now, I usually play a bell, but I'm not set up, so I don't want it to echo. So I'm just going to use my voice. All right. Can you do the bell, Adrienne?
I can. Give me a second.
Okay, good. So when I say breathing in, ring the bell, then I'll say breathing out, and we'll just do it 3 times. So the anchor brings me present in the moment. And when I teach kids, I have them rock like they're a boat, right? And when I say anchor, they stop. Now I can hear my echo.
I can hear. Yeah, and I did my. So I
Did
can
you
do
change
bells.
it? Okay, awesome.
Yes.
So now what do I need to do to not hear me?
You're gonna hear you.
So I hear myself every day. All right,
Okay.
let's try this. I'm watching my little brain starting. All right, so left hand on heart, right hand on belly, eyes closed. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, let that exhalation be just a little bit longer. Take another deep breath in. Breathe out. Another deep breath in. Breathe out. And on your own, take a few more circles of breath and notice how you feel. And stay in that anchor space, eyes closed. And tune in to the sound of the bowls. Bring your focus to the sound. One more deep breath together. Breathe in. Breathe out. Thank you, Adrienne. There is just something so powerful about those bowls. So anchoring in our body and our breath, the sound of the bowl, 3, we do 3 or more, brings me present. When you understand how your brain works, and this is part of your brain called the amygdala, your security guard starts to flip. It's trying to keep you safe. So we create a base of calm, minute, 2 minutes of sitting, noticing how we're feeling in order to feel that buzz of stress or nervousness or annoyance. So then that part of our brain doesn't flip, because I always share with the kids, who's ever said something that they wish they hadn't have said because they got really mad? It's a natural reaction of the brain. But what I'm trying to get into is my prefrontal cortex, my wise leader, but I really want my heart leading. And so you can anchor in your breath and literally just follow the pattern. Do 10 breaths. I teach kids 5-finger breathing. They literally trace their hand, because when you connect with your body and your breath, you're being present and it calms the nervous system. Also the practice of, because I'm trained in heart math, I'm trained in the connection practice, which is empathy and insight. I'm trained in all sorts of stuff. But, what I love about heart math is like, I will automatically put my left hand on my heart and my nervous system knows we need to calm.
Yep.
It's like a signal. It's like right there. And so just the simple practice of that.
Yeah.
So sensory awareness, and I'll post this, or I'll send it to Adrienne because I got a little JPEG. 5 things you can see. Hang on, let me get it right. 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can feel, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. So when you start doing like checking in with your senses and in the breathing, it starts narrowing your focus, and then you bring it present. So short sits, 10 breaths, 20 breaths, anchored in my body, anchored in my breath. Let's say you're driving. I'm noticing my hands on the steering wheel. I'm consciously breathing. 2 words, just breathe. So when you feel that stress starting to happen, and I'll literally say it out loud, I'm like, Veronica, just breathe. I'll set that intentional calm. Quickly, 4 Kingdoms of Consciousness, downloaded by Reverend Michael Beckwith of Agape International Spiritual Center in LA. If you don't know Reverend Michael, I suggest you find him. But we have the 4 Kingdoms of Consciousness that we're all operating in different areas of our life. First kingdom is victim consciousness. Life is being done to me. Woe is me. Everything is against me. Second consciousness is the beginning of the manifestation process. Life by me. That's when we do the princes, the palaces, and the parking lots. You know, you want to manifest materialistic things. All right. So I'm doing it through my affirmations. And it's a great starting point for manifestation, but it's still very like grounded in condition, like this level. Third kingdom of consciousness, life through me. I'm the channel of this life force energy. I'm allowing this to come and co-creating, but it's life as me, the divine as me. That's the highest level of consciousness where you're fully aware of there is no Veronica. There's this energy, the soul energy that's expressing through this incarnation, given the name Veronica, but it's a divine, that higher consciousness as me. And that's a place of powerful manifestation because there's no ego attachment to it. So you're in love, joy, truth, and beauty when you're in that as me state. Now, I may be, you know, in my spiritual community and God as me, but then I get into traffic and, you know, and I'm like, oh my God, these people are riding my ass, you know, and I'm in victim consciousness, you know? And so, or you lose your job and it's like, oh, the world is against me. But then you realize, oh, I've been saying I hate this job. I want to get out of this job. Like the universe is going to respond to whatever we, you know, co-create and put into the law.
Exactly.
So when I teach mindfulness in schools, it's about being present in the moment to my senses, being present to my emotions and feelings, being present to my thoughts, my inner state, like the weather. And then when I pair it up, when I do spiritual coaching, then I'll bring in the 4 kingdoms of consciousness and how to co-create your life, understanding you're a spiritual being having this human experience. Everybody is. It's an expression, but it's living from that place. So I say when I go to schools, I go, you see healed and unhealed, skilled and unskilled behavior. I bring in mindfulness techniques to give the basis of positive practical skill sets. I teach spiritual principles so you understand that there's universal laws that operate and we get to consciously participate in that co-creation. But we're not saints and we're not perfect. Let me be very clear about that. You know, I'm very clear about that, you know.
What I think is interesting is you always go back to it's a practice.
It's a practice.
That you have to. I always teach people with meditation. It's a practice.
It's a practice.
People get so frustrated after the first, 3 days of trying. I'm like, it's a practice.
It's a practice.
Better than others. Some days you're going to be able to get in. Some days you're going to hear everything. And also, what meditation is not is sitting in a room perfectly silent, looking at a cave wall for 8 years. That is absolutely what it's not. And so what I love is how you demystify it and you keep it simple, which is it's just being present. It's
just being present.
Knowing what's going on.
And what the practice does with the longer meditation practice, it does have like amazing benefits for your body and your mind and the level of awareness that you experience. But at the same time, if you have to drag yourself to the cushion and you're fighting it, well, then go for a walk and be mindful. But I always tell people start with short sits. So even in heart math, when you're trying to build a new baseline, if you're used to crazy and chaos, you're not going to be able to sit for 5 minutes. Okay. Start with 10 breaths. That's 1 minute. Yeah. And then notice how you feel. And I'm going to get my morning pages. So I'm on notebook 184. So literally over 12,000 pages. This comes from Julia Cameron's The Artist's Way. You're just downloading consciousness in the morning. So I get up, I do my gratitude practice. I always say 5 things I'm grateful for before my feet hit the floor, especially after almost dying at 30 and you realize, wow, when you lose everything, career, this and that, you begin to appreciate what's present. So I begin with gratitude and then go to the bathroom and then I go make coffee, I make my bed, and then I sit and write for 20 minutes. Everything and anything that comes, whether it's dreams or frustrations or grief or ideas. And that process has been powerful because 184 pages at 70 pages per notebook. It was like May 1998, I think, when I started. And it's non-negotiable. That my day begins that way, because if it doesn't, and there was like a little gap when I was in a relationship and I didn't have the privacy that I needed, and I noticed the gap in my practice, and I noticed how I was not fully present or engaged. So whether it's meditation, affirmations, a gratitude practice, walking and paying attention, like not walking with music or your phone, but like being present, the practice is what brings us into that deeper state. Yeah. And it takes time and commitment. And with meditation, it's not about, like you said, we're not trying to stop our thoughts. I'm just trying to be present. And what happens is you'll see the voice of the inner critic. You'll hear it. You'll feel it. You'll notice things. And the more disciplined you become, especially with writing, like a snarky comment comes, I'm like, oh, clever girl. That's your ego. And I'm not judging it. I'm like, oh, okay, you're in Kingdom 1 consciousness, girl. Okay, let's let this go just for a few more lines, you know? Yeah, but the practice, there will not be a transformation without the practice. You know, the caterpillar's got to eat all this food, and then it's got to get in its little cocoon, and then it's got to liquefy, and this little head pops off before it becomes the butterfly. All right. But there's this process, and sometimes people want to bypass that. They want the give it to me now. And the deeper your commitment to your well-being, when your practice becomes non-negotiable, even if you have to go sit in the bathroom for 2 minutes at work, it's like wherever the practice happens, that's the practice.
Yeah. Yeah. How critical is it to be mindful?
Wait, say one more time. So I'm losing you when you move out. So you said, how critical is it?
Hear my echo. I don't know if you're like watching this on YouTube as well, or so I can hear.
I'm watching you on StreamYard, you know, but it phased out after the question.
How critical is mindfulness for people who are in therapy?
I say for everybody, mindfulness is critical. You know, if you've got a good therapist who's working with you, it's a very, you know, like I said, it's just like, it's paying attention. So here's the thing that Brene Brown, author and researcher, she just released Atlas of the Heart. She says most adults can only name 3 emotions: mad, sad, and happy. Whereas my kids, I've training them, and you'll get this list in Nonviolent Communication, and I'm waiting for Brene's book. There's 87 emotions and experiences. If you're in therapy, it's really, when you're present to what you're feeling, you're able to name it. So therapy is going to take you to the point maybe of the genesis of the experience, the seed, the belief, the pattern, the experience, and where the mindfulness brings it to the moment where you can be very aware that this is what I'm feeling. This is the experience that I'm having. So once again, it's just about paying attention. Oh, this person said that and I was triggered. Well, they're not my trigger. The trigger's here. Now I can set boundaries with that person or make a clear request about how, you know, they can speak to me, but it's like, what's this? So the mindfulness makes me present to the, what's this? Like, why am I always irritated when this is happening? Or when that person says, you know, tells me no, it triggers this whole belief of abandonment, you know? So with whether it's therapy or just life, whether you're a parent or, you know, just a favorite aunt like me, it's being present. The other part of mindfulness and it ties to what I just said, is when my nieces and nephews were being born. So I came home, I got sick at 30. I had to leave Los Angeles at 34. I came home to live with my parents, and my mother was taking care of my nieces and nephews. I call them my pint-sized gurus. And what I realized with them, that everything I said and did, and this really brought me to the mindfulness, affected them either in a positive or not a positive way. So even a slight, like Macy one time, she was 4, my niece was coming up to say something to me, but I turned this way. She took that as not being loved and ignored. And in that moment, I realized what happened. I had to have, I think I was talking to my mom, and I turned to Macy and I said, I'm so sorry I wasn't present. Because what happens is these little things in our childhood become these big stories and our belief systems. So for the mindfulness, I became really clear about how I was speaking to them, how I was present for them, how I languaged, just like when I was having a difficult emotion. So it didn't become about them. So it became very clear. So whether it's therapy, a difficult job, a joyous job, relationships, it's just about noticing and paying attention. Fall, when the cascading leaves, how many people stop just to enjoy that? Beauty, like when the sky was on fire the other day. So whether it's therapy and things are arising, and here's the other thing, when we're triggered from something in the past, it's actually not happening in the moment. With the mindfulness connecting in body and breath, that brings me present, but it will take more than 10 breaths sometimes. Because my brain doesn't know the difference. Like I tell the kids, they get nervous and scared with tests. I go, your brain doesn't know the difference between a test and a tiger. It just feels a threat. But we're sometimes creating that. Or an experience comes up and we're reliving something, but it's like, let me be present in a safe space where I can move through this energy.
A lot of people were wondering this.
A lot of good stuff. And just, remind you, it's a practice, it's a practice. And just, to the best of our ability, I teach so we can be kind to ourselves and really kind to each other. When we understand we all have difficult emotions, then we can connect more in empathy instead of taking it out on each other. That let me presence this. Let me find support to move through this, to experience this. And then really it's like, life is like this. It's a blip. I just had a ministerial colleague, his prayer partner, 73 and healthy, just passed, unexpected. And I'm like, be present. Yeah. Don't wait for your good. Yeah. Call in great relationships and friendships. Let go of what you need to let go of. But be present to the beauty, which is why, go to my Instagram. If you do anything, go to my Instagram and you'll see my mindful moments. Those are my posts. That's just a moment. And I share it because I just want to inspire people to be present to beauty, to the light and shadows. I post food, not because you need to know what I'm eating, but to inspire you to have great meals. I'm very present to eat the good food.
I'm going to put, I've got the link in the description, but I just put it in the chat again for anybody who wants to follow you on the Insta face. There it is.
And if anybody has questions, whenever the chat comes, I'll check the chat. I'm not a multitasker, I'm a writer, I'm a photographer, I'm a mindfulness teacher, even as a speaker, I'm still just present. So I'm just focused right here, and then I'll look at chat later because I can't be doing this. I'm not skilled. Not my gift.
Well, let's do a few moments. I really am excited about walking everybody through the body scan. You just got a little bit of a taste of it earlier, but now it's the full shablam. Before you do it, I know we've got a couple people who've joined late. Veronica has a homework assignment for you. I've pinned it to the top of the chat, but we've got some people who've already completed the homework assignment. Veronica, explain the homework assignment again for those who came in late.
We're creating a jar of mindfulness. So this container of connection with each other. So you're going to create one positive word from the letter of your first name. So I'm Veronica and I put vivacious. Adrienne put adventurous. I'll have to go look at the rest.
Jason, Johnny, or Joy. I do know that I was looking earlier. And then if Johnny's going to be Tarot's apprentice, he's tenacious. We've also got Judith, who's Joy. Debbie is the light.
Yes.
That's amazing. We had a couple more that I saw, but go ahead and put yourself down. What are you? What's the word that starts with your name so we can add it to our happiness jar?
Positive. Positive.
Because I wanted to put annoying and I wasn't allowed to. So
But you were having the experience of feeling annoyed, and that's okay. And that's the other reminder.
No. I was feeling annoying.
You were feeling annoyed.
No, I was like, oh, I'm annoying right now. Yeah.
So I'll tell a quick story while people are doing that. So I show a video from Happify called How Mindfulness Empowers Us. And it's Sharon Salzberg. It's a cartoon. And she talks about the red wolf and the blue wolf and which one are you going to feed? And it's a powerful visual reminder for kids that difficult emotions are just difficult. They're signals. And in nonviolent communication, there's signals of unmet needs. So if I have a need for connection, I'm not going to go to the people who ignore me. I'm going to get that need met with my real friends, people who love me. Blue wolf, the positive emotions, we tend to, because our brain is wired to remember the negative to keep us safe. So it remembers those red wolf moments. I need to feed the blue wolf, meaning curiosity, kindness, joy, gratitude. And when I do, I'm in my heart, but I'm literally also creating new neural connections to this part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex. So when you have a difficult emotion, whether you're being annoying or feeling annoyed, it's a signal. It's a signal. And when you're having a positive emotion, remember to notice it. So I say with the negative, Dr. Dan Siegel says you name it to tame it. And then with the positive, I say you name it to claim it. When I claim more joy, greater love, then I'm looking at through the world with the lens of joy and the lens of love. Doesn't mean I ignore or bypass everything else, but I'm cultivating that strong heart. I'm cultivating the eyes that see beauty. I'm cultivating the eyes that meet people in the present moment in their authenticity, as long as I feel safe in front of them. And that's a whole nother story. Whole nother story. Because, remember, we're not doormats. We're not doing metaphysical bypasses. And so it's really it's very empowering. So it's called How Mindfulness Empowers Us is a great video just to get an understanding of the red wolf and blue wolf. And then, letting those positive emotions build that resilience, that strength when we're meeting chaos or we're meeting injustice or we're meeting, all that's happening in the world right now.
I love it.
I hate it.
Let's start. What I'm going to do is because I'm hearing a lot of echo, I will have you do the guided. I will see if I can join in again.
Okay.
Via, these things here.
Yeah. And I didn't set up for my mic to ring a bell. So if I rang a bell, would it echo?
You have to turn off the echo cancellation.
I won't use the bell then. So I'll just guide everybody briefly. And if you jump in, come on and jump in. So let me give everybody just a brief of what we're going to do. One of the great teachings that I bring that I learned from John Kabat-Zinn is called the body scan. And literally, we're just scanning from our toes to our head and back. And so we're bringing our attention and our awareness to different parts of our body and just noticing any sensations, tingling or tickling, or maybe warm or cold. And then with the breath, and this last part, the sweep, comes from Daniel Rechistoffen, where when I breathe in, let's say there is tightness, I have tension. Well, I want to just breathe into it. And when I breathe out, it's like sweeping it out. So what I'll do, I'm going to do a very brief one because body scans can last half an hour to an hour. On Insight Timer, you can find various teachers who do a body scan. I do a nightly one that helps me go to sleep. And so we're just going to start here really simply. And so the invitation is, and if you hear the music come in, which I hope it happens, just allow yourself to let that vibration also, feel what you're feeling. And when we sweep it out, let it just be swept out with the sound and with your breath. And so the invitation, are we ready, Adrienne? Are we ready to go with this? All right. So just, if you're able to go lay down on the couch, lay down on the couch. Now I'm echoing. Are they going to hear the echo? Okay. So I just hear the echo. Oh, okay. This is a great mindfulness practice. All right. So I'm inviting you to get in a comfortable position, whether you're sitting on a chair or laying on the floor. Just notice how you feel. We're going to do this with our eyes closed so that we turn off that 80% of information. And the invitation, let's just take a deep breath together. Breathe it in, bringing our attention to this moment. And breathe it out. We'll do 3 deep breaths first. Breathe in. Breathe out. Another deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to scan our body, noticing any energy, just being present to it without judgment. So I invite you to bring your attention to the bottom of your feet and just notice if there's any sensation, tingling, or tightening. And when I invite us to breathe in, you're going to take a deep breath in, but on the exhale, you're going to sweep out the energy. So notice the bottom of your feet and breathe in and sweep out that energy. Now allow your mind to scan the top of your feet and let your awareness notice any sensations. And now bring your awareness and attention to your ankles. And take a deep breath in and sweep out any energy. Allow the scan of your mind to help your shins. And almost in a circular motion, just slowly going around from the shins to the back of your calves, coming all the way up to your knees. Noticing your right leg. Notice if there's any sensations. Bring your attention to your left leg. Scanning the ankle all the way up to your knee. Take a deep breath in and sweep it out. Now allow your attention to go up from your calves to your thighs, and to scan the front of your leg. And as you come around the back, slowly make your way up to your hips. So scan the right leg from knee to hip, front and back. Now scan the left leg from knee to hip, front and back. Just noticing any sensations, hot or cold. Maybe it's relaxed. Take a deep breath in and let's sweep out any energy. Now allow the scanner to scan around your hips from the front of your stomach and then come to the back and circling up from the hips all the way up to your chest. Just a slow scan. Noticing if there's any energy. With every breath relaxing. Making your way up to your shoulders. Scan the front and the back. Breathe in and sweep out any energy. Now bring your attention to your right shoulder. And you're going to scan down to your right elbow. And from your right elbow to your wrist. And then your hand. Noticing each finger, each joint. And slowly scanning back. With love and kindness, just noticing any sensation. Come all the way up to your right shoulder. Take a deep breath in. And a deep exhale, release with the sweep. Now come around to your left shoulder and scan down to your left elbow, your left wrist, your hand, all the joints of each finger of your left hand. And just noticing any sensation non-judgmentally. Scanning back up to the left shoulder. Take a deep breath in And let's sweep out any energy. Now let your scanner come to the front of your neck and the back of your neck and slowly all the way up to the top of your head. Scan your neck, your cheeks, your ears, your nose, your eyes. Scan your forehead, the back of your head, the top of your head. Just notice if there's any tingling or tightening, softness, cold or hot. And let's sweep out that energy. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, as Adrienne begins to play bowls, on your own, scan from your head to your toes until we bring you back into the room, pausing for breaths to sweep out any energy, allowing light just to circulate throughout your body. And just notice how you feel. Don't open your eyes yet. Just feel into this moment. Breathe in. Breathe out. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Bring your attention to this moment, to Adrienne and I on the screen, with a smile in your heart and a smile in your face. Let us know how you feel.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It was great hearing you play.
Absolutely fantastico. Hopefully Johnny is still awake because he says sometimes the bowls takes him to
another place. Yeah.
another place.
Another time we can, go deeper and talk about the power of the pause. That's where you pause with the breath, so you have a response instead of reaction. But just allow the body scan at night really helps to relax. And you can do it with your eyes open. Like if you're sitting in a meeting and you're just feeling tension, you just bring your attention to that place and just breathe in and breathe out. The power of the breath till you feel the shift.
Absolutely. Veronica, tell us again where we can find you, how we can follow you, how we can learn more about you, and you can teach us more, please.
So you have posted a bunch of links, which are great. I don't do a lot of YouTube. I need to build my YouTube. If you want to see what I do for my ministry, you can go to sacredlivingdallas.org/mindfulness. I'll paste that later, but really go to my Instagram. I love posting photographs because it brings me to the present moment of the beauty and awe and wonder of life. If you go to my Facebook page, Adrienne has the links. You can go check out all the videos I've done in the past. I did a lot more Facebook Lives. And veronicavalles.smugmug.com is where some of my photographs, I literally have 160,000 photographs just on this one computer. So I'm trying to edit them. So like whenever I'm praying for long life, healthy life. But I told my niece Isabella, I'm like, hey, you're going to be in charge of my photographs. And she's like, can you edit some of them now? But yeah, just, you can find me around social media. She's got all the links, and just know, one, be kind to yourself, be loving to yourself, find a practice that works for you, and find people that support your gifts unconditionally, and get some skills and tools, because we're all. So when I do emotions with children, we all, it's like, who's felt this? Angry, sad, joyful, curious. We all have these human emotions and experiences, and we're just trying to navigate it in the moment. But cultivate the positive. Pause for beauty. Celebrate the people you love. Like Adrienne, I love you. You're phenomenal. I'm just grateful Jody connected us. And find the good and praise it.
Yes.
Especially in a world that because the brain is wired for the negative, will focus on that. Be one of those that finds the good and praise it, and then do what you can from your heart to help shift the world into, a world that works for everyone. Maybe it might not happen in my lifetime, but that's why I teach children these skill sets, so they can at least navigate life, find their gifts, and share their gifts in the world. So just know that each one of you is necessary, and just love and support each other, and have the friends when you need a bitch. No more than 2 minutes, though, because then you're in story. That's an Academy Award.
Ask first. Can you hold space? Because I need to go in, and then go once they give you the clearance.
That's exactly it, So we acknowledge the human experience and journey. But I always tell my nieces and nephews, I'm like, wow, that's really great. Save that one for the big screen, meaning like the movies, because that's a really good story. So, but thank you, Adrienne, for everything. And thank you, all those who are here. I do watch your tarot. Like I put all y'all on. You're like my friends when I'm cooking,
Say
thank you for all that you bring into the world.
Well, I don't feel like I bring much, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you for sharing your gifts, your insight, your wisdom with all of us. I just cannot thank you enough, because I know we needed to hear that. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I'll post the link for Sacred Living. Like I said, that's for children, but there's little videos you can do yourself, like the breath box, the 5-finger breathing. If you've got kids, they're great. But Adrienne, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you in public. You bring a lot to this world. Breathe in your heart, take it in, receive it, because you can't just exhale, girl. You got to inhale.
No,
so
what I hear very clearly all the time is I'm just a conduit for people to be their amazing.
Exactly.
That's it.
But that's the fourth kingdom of consciousness. When it's as me, it's not about the ego. So the divine universe as Adrienne is phenomenal, and I'm grateful.
Okay, and thank you. Enough about that, guys. Please go. I put and Sacred Living Dallas is in the chat. I put the link there. Go check it out. Go check out all of her pictures. I put that link. We will do this again. We will dig deeper next time. I think this was a wonderful introduction and a great start for this conversation, especially going into the holidays, where we all really, really needed. Holiday times are very, very difficult for a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for giving this gift to people who needed to hear this message today, Veronica. Thank you.
You're welcome. And just remember, for the holidays, find places where you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, choose what you're willing to attend and not attend, but attend to your heart.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back with more tools, and just remind yourself, you have to feed your heart, mind, body, and soul with beauty. And it makes a huge difference. So thank you. I love you, Adrienne. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody who's here. All right.
And guys, I will actually see all of you Thursday at 9. Let's try this again. Thursday, some date is like the 16th, 15th, something like that. At 7 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do part 2 of political personas. So I will see you guys then. Veronica, thank you. Guys, thank you. Have a great Sunday, and I will see you guys on Thursday.
Thank you.